the debt is going faster than you can save it. So what most people don't realize is that once this happened, you could purchase things with two things then. You could purchase with dollars, or you could purchase with debt.
Can you hold this for me? Sorry?
And so in 1973, I left here January of 1973, went back to the States.
Thank you.
And I came back to Hawaii, and my father, my poor dad, Fubaba, was unemployed. He was 53 years old. He was a PhD. He had no job. He had no money. He was flat broke. And he didn't know what to do because he had spent all of his life in school becoming a PhD. And I went home and I said, hey, Dad, you know what PhD stands for? Poor, helpless, and desperate, you know. I said, get off your butt, get to work. He didn't know how to. All he knew was to be a teacher.
Thank you.
So that's why I get upset when people call me an author or a teacher. I'm not. I'm an entrepreneur. You know? I'm an honest worker. So the point here is this. If you look at it, why people are going broke is, look here in Singapore, a lot of people go broke because they use debt to purchase stupid things like Prada shoes and Armani suits. I know the 3 C's of Singapore. When a guy asks a girl out, she's going to say 3 things. Got credit card? Have you got condo? And have you got a car? Right? And then now they added country club and cash, the whole thing. So money is now driving the world. Unfortunately, what most people are doing is they're good, hard-working people like my dad, and they're working for dollars. What the rich are doing is using debt. You can use debt to get poorer, and you can use debt to get richer. It's a complete reversal of thought. Just like one day you're eating with your right hand, next you gotta eat with your left hand. But they're opposite. So the reason I make so much money is I don't work for money. If you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, rule number 1, chapter 1 is the rich do not work for money. The rich focus on acquiring assets. That's the difference. And so Kim and I, for years now, have been buying more and more real estate. And when the market crashed in 2007, like we predicted it would, then we went back into the market and we didn't use dollars, we used debt. So what we teach people to do, if you ever played the cash flow game there's a little hidden line in there where you can use debt to acquire things. But most people play the cash flow game once. Oh, I played it once, that's all I need to know. Well, in anything in life, you're going to be a pro golfer, you got to practice every day. You're going to be a good football player, you got to practice, soccer player, you got to play every day. Well, it's the same as me. Every day, I'm in the market with debt. I'm not in there with dollars. And so there's a complete reversal of thought. And that's why I wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's why I created the cash flow game. If you've ever played the game of Monopoly, it says something very important in the Monopoly board game. It says, if the bank runs out of money, it can print more. So the reason I go and I speak, I stay outside the school system, is because what I say to them is heresy. Because nobody teaches people about money in schools. So what happened, we have now Barack Obama from Hawaii, very smart boy, best schools, all scholarships, but he knows nothing about money. He's never created a job. He's never built a company. He's never run a company. And he thinks right now the way to solve the problem is what solved it for him is the government to give him money. It's going to bankrupt us. And then you have this guy Romney. He is a private equity guy, and the way he made his money is by cutting jobs. So you have one side, Obama, thinking that the government can create jobs, and the other side is Romney trying to cut jobs. And we wonder why we have problems. So that's basically why I go and I speak and I talk to people and I say this. Every time I come to Singapore or Malaysia, wherever I go, people say, got a hot tip. I said, I'll give you a hot tip. Don't look for tips. the last guys that took a tip, they invested in Facebook and lost everything, you know? And that's what's wrong with people. They don't make money a study. And so, out of this room, I don't know how many people are here, only a few of you say, I want to study this. And the difference is, when I went back, when I left here Singapore, December 1972, into 73, I made money a study. And the reason I did that is I didn't trust my government. I don't trust the United States. I love the United States, I just don't trust our leaders, period. And when you look at the bankruptcies coming in Greece and Italy and Spain and all this, I would be cautious. These are some of the smartest people in the world. Our world leaders, and the world economy is going broke. And the main reason they're going broke is because of this. We went off the gold standard and went on the debt standard. Pretty soon you're going to see 100 trillion US dollar bills floating around. The next big crisis coming for America is retirement. Guys my age. I just turned 65 years old. There's 78 million of us. Most of us have no money set aside for retirement. So the next bailout is going to be old guys like me. You cannot just keep printing money, ladies and gentlemen. It's not possible. Does that make sense, you guys here? You cannot print money forever. And that's what this guy Bernanke is doing, that's what the euro is doing, that's what China is doing, that's what Japan is doing. When I was a kid, Japan was one of the richest countries in the world. Today it's the biggest debtor nation in the world. 240% of GDP, debt to GDP. They're trying to borrow their way out of this problem. So all I'm saying to people like you, the reason I stay away, you don't find me at ceremonial functions with the government, because I don't get along with them. I don't trust any government. I don't care who they are. Have you read Steve Jobs' new book? Oh, it wasn't done by Abramson. The book Steve Jobs. Isaacson. You should read that book, what he thinks about our government leaders. It's just like mine, so he's a smart man. You know, he went to a meeting with Obama, and all they talked about was government policy. They never talked about the problem. And the problem is we have no financial education in our schools. The United States education system is run by the teachers union. We have serious problems. So that's why I'm saying, you know, if you read my book, Prophecy, America is set to go down in 2016. I wrote that book in around 2002. With that, the world goes down with it. Now, the good news is, guys like me will get richer. Okay? And I want you to get richer. I think Singapore has a very good chance of doing very well, but you've got to change your thinking. You know, one of the good things I just heard about Singapore is you've taken the tax off of gold. That's going to make you even richer. Because the Chinese know gold is real money. So what I've done for years, and Kim will verify, when I met her, I was buying gold. I don't save dollars, I save gold and silver. Then I buy oil. So that's the real money. So that's why I say become a student, study, don't look for hot tips. When people talk to me about how tough the Singapore market is, I said, I agree. The trouble with Singapore, you're a small nation with 5 million people, all rich. As you come to Arizona, they're all poor. You know? So that's life, you know what I mean? And I think you'll be okay here in Singapore. But it's also, and my concern is, the reason I write is in America, the gap between the rich and the middle class is now very big. And people are still saying to their kids, go to school to get a job, save money, work hard, put your money in a retirement plan, buy a house. It's not going to work in America, it's over. So that's why I write and I talk. And so in close, I'll just say this much. Most people think capitalists are greedy. That is not true. To be rich, you have to be generous. You look at Steve Jobs, a very generous man. My wife and I, we provide jobs for thousands of people. We have thousands of employees. We have thousands of rental properties. We produce oil. You know, always, if we didn't produce oil, the price of oil would be through the roof. Okay? So it really upsets me when these socialists and communists, as educated people, call people like us greedy. Who are greedy are those guys running the banks who are the MBAs who know nothing about money. Okay, this guy's at Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan. JP Morgan, in their risk management section, they lose $2 billion. The share price drops by $28 billion. That means the investors lose $28 billion. But those guys don't get their paycheck. So, ladies and gentlemen, my opinion is the world has gotten too greedy. You know, when the women here say to a guy, you have to have the 3 C's, it's a little greedy. You know, if Kim had said that to me, I said, I'm out of luck, she's not going to go out with me. You know? So I encourage people to get educated, become students, study, and you'll find another world. There is so much abundance in the world today. You know, God made this world an abundant place. When you think about it, you get 1 ear of corn, you put 1 kernel of corn in the ground, that 1 little kernel will grow into a corn stalk and produce more ears of corn. But because of greed, we rape and pillage this earth. So I am not happy with my school system. I don't know how about it here in Singapore. I just don't think it's fair that the rich get better education than the poor. So that's why I stay out of the school system. And what we're coming up with October next year, November this year, October 2012, November 2012, all of our education is going to go on the iPhone. And our objective is to make financial education available to everyone who wants it. We won't force it on anybody's throat. So a poor kid sitting out in Sabah or Rawak can too be the next Steve Jobs. Okay. That's what we're doing. Thank you very much.